Hello and welcome to this tutorial about website protection. And in this video we're going to look at the way it's possible to convert a source of a page to a human unreadable code. Let's start. So when it comes to website encryption and website protection, there are different approaches to solve this task. One of the ways is to use per HTML. That's the first thing we're going to look at in this slide. And the most common way is to use JavaScript. And when it comes to JavaScript, there are three different ways we can use JavaScript to protect the page. And one of the ways is using hexadecimal values. The second way is to use escape and unscape functions. And the third way is to use an algorithm. I'm going to define that algorithm on a later point in this video. So let's start by looking at HTML only. So in HTML, all symbols can be expressed using ASCII. And basically what it means is that every symbol has a specific number, and using HTML we can express that letter or number, whatever it is, the symbol to be general, by using that specific ID or that specific code that symbol has. So we can look here. For instance, if I would take A, the ASCII value is 97, and just if you look at, I would like to emphasize. So in the red box, I have emphasized the code, the ASCII code of that letter. And as you can see, we start by an and sign and a hash sign. That indicates that we are typing a letter using ASCII code. So basically, these are equal. Whatever you type, and by the way, you have to remember that you have to end with a semicolon. But once this is done, this is basically another way of expressing a symbol using ASCII, and this will work. So this is one of the functions you can use to encrypt per text into ASCII code. So this is JavaScript. This is going to perform this algorithm I've defined here. So it's going to add and sign and a hash symbol, and then it's going to at the end it's going to put the char code. So basically the ASCII value. When this is done, it's going to return that and display that on the screen. But now let's look at JavaScript, and I think this is more common way of encrypting websites, therefore I'm going to focus more on that. And the first thing we're going to look at is hexadecimal values, and it's out of 3, so it's the first way of solving this task using JavaScript. So let's look at that first. So the first thing you have to do is to convert into hexadecimal. Basically, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. So that's hexadecimal values. Base 16. And here's the code which works in JavaScript. So if you put a specific text or anything, it will convert it to hexadecimal values. And as you can see, if we execute this method, we're going to get something like that. We're going to get a percentage sign, and then we get a hexadecimal value. And I would like to emphasize this again, that in the previous few slides, basically when we were looking at HTML, the value was in ASCII code. Basically, that was the decimal value of a symbol. But this time we're actually expressing it in terms of in base 16. So you can see 6C, that's number as well. That's one of the difference. But the second difference is also that you can't actually display this on the screen without executing another function. That's why it's called JavaScript based encryption, because in comparison to the HTML code that we had, it's just to type it into the browser, and you don't need to execute any function at all, and it will basically display that. But this time we need to execute the function. And the function I'm going to execute, and by the way, as you saw there, I have the percentage signs, this is the value. So, if you would like to display text in hexadecimal, you will need to use a function called unescape. That's a built-in function in JavaScript, so you don't need to have any libraries at all. It's a core function, so it will work. So basically this is an example. You define a script and you type document write unescape, and then you enter the hexadecimal values using that format. So that was that. Let's now look at how it's possible to use escape and unescape functions. And basically, the purpose of escape and unescape functions is to convert a URL into a friendly string. So basically, the one that doesn't contain any spaces and no special characters and so on. So it's basically adjusted for the URL, and therefore we can use, in that case, we can use escape function. And if we would like to, and this is one of the ways, so here document escape, document.write, and then we type escape and then enter the text we would like to convert. And the result we would get is basically the actual string, so letters wouldn't be converted at all. But when it comes to like a space, or when we have a special symbol, then we are actually going to convert them into hexadecimal values. You can see, in comparison to the previous method we're dealing with, this time it's only converting specific symbols, it's not converting the entire string. And if you like to convert it back, you use the same function, you use unescape, and you type hello world in that format, and you would return to the actual string. Probably not the best way to protect a page in comparison to the way to the method we looked at before. But now let's look at the third method, and this is basically by using an algorithm. There are several algorithms you can use, and actually, as you've probably seen, there are a lot of softwares that provide you with this functionality that you can convert text and basically pages into really confusing text, that code that isn't even possible to read. But basically what they do is they use specific algorithm to decrypt that text, and this is probably a really basic algorithm, and it's based on XOR cipher and or cipher, excuse me for my pronunciation. In order to just describe what it is, I have a table, a truth table. So basically, you can see if A and B, these are the inputs, and then we have the outputs. So 0, 0 will give you 0, 0, 1 is 1, 1 or 0 is 1, 1, 1 is 0. So it's an exclusive OR. So what are the benefits of XOR cipher? The benefits are that if you take 5 XOR 6, that would give you 3. And this is using bytewise conversion here. So 5 XOR 6 is 3, 5 XOR 3 is 6, and 3 XOR 6 is 5. And hopefully you can see the pattern here. Given two numbers, we'll always get the third. So they are actually dependent. So you can see 5 and 6 gives you 3, and so on. And basically it works in two different directions. So if you have the encrypted text, you can always and you have the key, you can always get the actual message. And if you have the message, and if you have the key, you can get the encrypted the encrypted message. If you have the open message, basically if you have the actual message and you have the encrypted version of that message, you will get the key. So it's kind of really interesting, I think. And the reason is why I've chosen this is because it's only using one single method to do all these tasks. So now, to either decrypt or encrypt, we're going to use the same method, and that's what I mentioned earlier. That's one of the benefits, I think, because I mean it's really simple, it's really short, doesn't take that much space. So this is a simple function, and it requires you that you provide a T, so that's the text message, or actually the open message, and then you have to provide the key as well, and then it does something here, and we are going to get the encrypted message in return. And now I would like to emphasize, and this is actually regarding all of the ciphers we've been looking at. So basically, this is just the comparison between HTML and JavaScript methods. So if we would like to, so the basic difference between HTML and JavaScript encryptions is that HTML encrypts everything, including tags. So if you, for instance, encrypt a paragraph tag, so P and then H high basically, and then you have a closing tag, and you would use the HTML encryption method. When you then put this into a browser, you would get P, basically the paragraph tags, the message, and then the closing tag. So basically, it would display everything. It wouldn't consider that that's actually the HTML you would like to display. That's probably one of the difference. Actually, one of the important difference. The second important difference, and that's now with JavaScript, is that when you encrypt the same message, so if you encrypt paragraph, high, and then closing tag, that would give you high. So it would actually execute the paragraph and it treat this as a paragraph. So it now considers that what you have entered there is actually HTML. HTML only encryption considers that what you enter is actually text that you wouldn't like the browser to interpret it in any way, just as per text. But when you're using JavaScript, you're actually, that's probably why I think this is most common, because it's much simpler to encrypt the page, because you don't need to consider that the text might not be executed. So in JavaScript, all text will be executed when you decrypt the message. So let's look at the algorithm. And if you go to this link, you can basically see how this actually works. So I'm going to press compile. And the reason I have mentioned here is that, I mean, we only have one text box, and it will work as an encryptor and a decryptor. So let's look. If we enter hello world and encrypt it, we get something really strange. But now we can decrypt it again, and we return to the actual message, and we can go on like this. We don't need to specify if we're decrypting or encrypting. It will work in both directions, as I mentioned earlier. So that's how it works. Really, I think really useful to just be able to use it in that way. But so here, basically, if you'd like to find out more about this Kipper, you could go to this page and try it out on your own. And also, so thank you. Basically, I would like to end this presentation now. I think I've been talking too long. And basically, this presentation is based on an article, and which is written by me actually, which you can find on this page. And basically, actually, the presentation is based on this article, so you can find if there was something that you didn't understand, you can always go back to this article and find out more. And I'm going to upload this presentation, so it's possible to download it, I think, below this video. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and good luck with the website protection. So have a nice day.